For more on that, we're now being joined by Dr. Yemen Rolby, who's a maritime security analyst with IR Consilium. Thank you so much, Dr. Rolby, for joining. I just wanted to get your sense of the situation in the Red Sea. Now, we've seen this new ultimatum being given to the Houthis as well. What's your assessment of where this is actually leading to and where this is going?
Well, it obviously continues to escalate, and unfortunately, that is bad news for global shipping. At this point, it would be very well advised to avoid the Red Sea altogether while this continues to become a more dynamic situation. The exchange of fire between the United States and the Houthis the other day in support of the Maersk Conju that was being attacked certainly brought us into a new situation where hostile, lethal fire back and forth between the two sides led to actual deaths, and that has brought us into a new place altogether. So we've seen all of the world sort of react in different ways, and 12 countries, now a 13th as well, have issued statements saying that the Houthis need to stop this. Unfortunately, though, that is unlikely to be persuasive towards the Houthis, and we're likely to see this continue.
Now, Dr. Ravi, I'll tell you what a lot of people are wondering. They're saying threats are being made at the Houthis, saying you've got to stop this, you've got to stop this, you've got to stop this, or there are going to be consequences. But then they keep on doing it, and there are no consequences. So people are sort of wondering why the US or any of the other partners aren't directly targeting the areas where the drones are taking off from where the attacks are coming. Because right now it almost sounds as if threats are being made to the Houthis, but the gloves are still very much on.
Well, Yemen's been at war for quite a while now, and things were, prior to this incident involving the Red Sea and the attacks on ships, Yemen was in a very fragile moment of trying to negotiate peace after a very long conflict. And so I think everybody's been a bit reserved, trying to maintain hope and optimism that that peace was achievable. Unfortunately, it does not look like the context today will allow for that. And so we are probably going to see a change in posture as we continue to see these attacks against global commerce, against the global economy. But people have been reserved in hopes of trying to maintain some degree of calm and balance within Yemen. Actually attacking sites in Yemen would be a very big escalation in this whole situation. And that would certainly change the equities vis-a-vis the government of Yemen's position as well as the Houthis' position.
So the latest ultimatum that we've now seen, is this a step in saying that, look, we've been trying to be patient because there are no good options really in Yemen, but if this sort of a thing continues, maybe there have to be a change in direction. Maybe there have to be some more direct consequences for the Houthis.
I honestly believe that we are taking the wrong approach in the sense that we are putting too much attention towards the Houthis themselves. We need to put attention towards everybody else to come together to stop this threat to the global economy. The Houthis are desperate for legitimacy, credibility, visibility, and relevance. And unfortunately, our statements towards them are giving them that. Right now, it would be best to try to delegitimize them through actually recognizing them as a terrorist organization. They're not even all that well organized, but they are acting as terrorists, and they need to be labeled as such in order to diminish their position as a legitimate negotiating party for control of Yemen. Right now, they are purporting to be the Yemen Navy when they launch these attacks, and that is a misnomer. That's a farce, and we need to call that out as it is, but not treat them as a legitimate, rational actor in the international community.
Right, we've also been seeing a lot of escalation around Iran in the last couple of weeks. Those bomb blasts, of course, and not quite sure, who was responsible. Other statements coming out of Iran. How do you see the Iran factor? Is it going to become increasingly important?
It is, in that this is creating opportunities for Iran. I think Iran is enjoying having essentially let the Houthis perpetrate these attacks. They have not been directing them. They have been helping and supporting them, it seems. But this is the Houthis doing what the Houthis want to do. And it just happens to benefit the Iranians. And they are certainly mutually involved in the weaponry used, the targeting being used, and even the approach of targeting shipping very much derives from Iran. Iran has been doing a very impressive job of attacking global commerce for years. They have done this over decades, but in just the last few years, We've seen a whole series of attacks in 2019, month on month from March all the way through until the Abqaiq attack in September. Then again in 2021, leading up to the very intense attack on the Mercer Street that led to a couple of deaths. And we've seen a recent back and forth between the United States and Iran as well. And each time Iran uses the hostile aggression towards the maritime space, it has a very targeted message. It usually is targeting a specific interlocutor, whether it's Mohammed bin Zayed in UAE, Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia, the United States, at one point then Prime Minister, the late Shinzo Abe of Japan. They're very targeted. The Houthis are much more erratic, and they are merchants of chaos. And unfortunately, that is now what we're dealing with. But both benefit each other in the sense that they are both indicating that there's an ability to sanction global maritime commerce through aggression.
So let me ask you directly, do you think there's a possibility that Iran could get dragged directly much further into this entire conflict?
I would not. I believe that the Chem Pluto attack was an attack by Iran. I don't quite understand why they would take that risk that close to India, other than to show that they're capable of it. But it certainly is possible that Iran will become more kinetically involved. Whether other states respond to Iran in the same way that we're responding to the Houthis, very much in question, because Iran presents a completely different concern for international affairs. The Houthis, though, we are providing way too much credibility to them the way we're approaching them at the moment.
Okay, Dr. Rabi, thank you so much for joining us with that perspective.